Hi, everyone. Welcome. Hope you're having a good day. Appreciate you coming by. So we're going to pretty much dive right into it. I'm going to lead a meditation for about 25 minutes or so, and then just offer a couple of comments on that. And as I mentioned in the intro to this channel, this isn't an introduction to mindfulness, so if you're looking for that, you can maybe check out other info on this channel of some sources for that. And you might be wondering what integrated mindfulness is, so that's what we're going to be doing today. And I do plan to leave a couple of short videos on that as well. I didn't get around to that yet. But it's nothing daunting or overly special, so. Great. So coming into a posture that will support you in being both alert and at ease. And just checking in and noticing that subtle shift of being more aware of what's happening right now. That self-reflective quality of the mind that we call mindfulness. And so starting the meditation, I find it's always helpful to just reconnect with your intention for this practice period. So reminding yourself that it's really okay to put aside any other concerns about the day or yesterday or what you're going to do. And so we're not kind of violently pushing away that part of the mind that wants to do things. The most effective way to orient us towards our intention is actually to notice perhaps this sense of wanting or doing or planning. Listening internally, just noticing what's the inclination of the mind right now. And if it is to be busy and doing something else, just letting yourself know that it really is okay to put that aside. And so we'll just briefly scan through the body, just connecting to this sense of aliveness that's here. And in this style of practice, we're relying less on the kind of focal attention, the sense of me in here that's going to be aware of different parts of my body. So we're kind of letting go of that me. And it's almost like we're allowing the body to be aware of itself without our help. So allowing sensations, the very top of the head, to come into the foreground. What's it like for the top of the head to be aware of itself without your help? The forehead, moving out to the temples and the ears. Sensing into the face. Center of the head, the back of the head. allowing sensations in the neck and shoulders to come into the foreground. The upper arms, the forearms and hands. Allowing the upper part of the torso to come into the foreground of your awareness, the chest and back, heart center and the heart and lungs. The stomach, the lower torso, the hips and pelvic region, the upper legs, the lower legs, the feet. And expanding up from the feet, including the lower legs and upper legs, including the lower and upper torso, the hands, the arms, the shoulders, the neck, head and face. So putting aside any effort to try here, just allowing. The body is already sensitive, already aware. This awareness that pervades the body and is all around you, is actually holding the body, is already aware of the aliveness in the body. So just checking and recognizing that. And perhaps naturally also the movement of the breath comes a little bit more into the foreground. And so with this practice, one thing that you could try if you like is to just periodically see if you notice the difference between the kind of active doing mind, sometimes called the conditioned mind, but really the pattern of thoughts, physical sensations, emotions, sometimes referred to as kind of the waves on the water, this busyness and activity, which we're not battling, we're not trying to wrestle it into some other shape. The more you actually notice, oh yeah, there's that thing, there's that whole conglomeration of thinking, feeling, doing, leaning forward. And when you notice that, of course, recognize it's actually not you, since you're aware of it. So what is aware of all that? Perhaps you might be able to reconnect with this sense that you may have glimpsed as we finished that really short body scan, the body aware of itself without your help, maybe even the space around the body. So noticing from time to time the whole busyness of the mind, or even just a sense of wanting to do something, and seeing if it's possible to just release from that a little bit, open up to this broader awareness that's already here, that requires no effort actually to connect with. And our practice isn't to try to hold that larger awareness in place. As soon as we start to do that, that once again is that kind of trying, conditioned mind, the busy mind, thinking that it's jumping into the driver's seat. It's like using the wrong muscle, but it's a well-practiced habit. So for the rest of this practice period, you can perhaps notice the busy mind, see if you can, without trying to stamp it out, just reconnect with this broader awareness that's already here, already aware. And from that broader vantage point, just relax into your meditation, whether you're using the breath or aware of the whole body. That's perhaps your choice. Or if actually from that more spacious awareness, you feel comfortable just noticing and observing thoughts and patterns of thoughts coming and going. At some point, you'll realize that perhaps you've either jumped into the driver's seat again, or at least this thinking, conditioned mind is trying to control the meditation. Or you might notice that actually the attention has really come up and gotten pulled into a particular storyline. And none of that's a problem. You just notice, oh, interesting. The attention got taken away, but now I'm back. And seeing if it's possible to connect once again with this spacious awareness that's around you and within you. So perhaps for you, the mind might be relatively calm right now. And if so, that can still be an opportunity to notice this kind of doing, controlling aspect of the mind. So it can be even pretty subtle and light and pleasant. And it's still possible to notice, yeah, there's something in here that feels like it's me meditating. And that sense of me meditating is a kind of a shortcut that the mind takes, and it's only part of you. So that can be part of the practice. Just notice, okay, what is it that feels like the me that's meditating? Sometimes it could be a subtle physical sensation, even in the face or throat. Or it may feel like it's kind of behind the eyes. And so as you're noticing that, it's like you can turn around and notice the awareness that is actually aware of that sense of me. It doesn't feel like another me. It's more likely to just feel like spaciousness, or a sense of capacity, almost. What's here before anything happens? What's here before I do anything? What's here before the next thought? And so glimpsing that broader, spacious awareness and noticing that that awareness is already aware of the body, already aware of the breath, already aware of this sense of me meditating. And there's nothing that you need to do with it. No matter how much the mind believes that it needs to do something with this moment to make it better, to really understand it, whatever. Just experimenting with connecting with that awareness. And that's it, not doing anything with it. Most people notice that releasing, letting go into the broader awareness, not doing, being, as John Kabat-Zinn would say, initially doesn't last very long. Maybe 10 seconds, maybe 30 seconds. That's not a problem. That's just how it is. But it can be helpful to not have the expectation that that connection with this broader, more encompassing awareness is somehow going to be a permanent thing. Our connection or recognition gets interrupted or overlain with the kind of activity of the conditioned mind. And so we notice that. And again, seeing if it's possible to connect with the awareness that is actually aware already of all of that. Okay, great. So if you have your eyes closed, you might want to open them. And even as you're doing that, seeing if it's possible as you kind of maybe move around a little bit to still experiment from time to time with connecting, recognizing this broader awareness that encompasses absolutely everything that you experience. So I thought I'd share a short quote from a book by the teacher Rodney Smith, his book, Awakening, A Paradigm Shift of the Heart. And I thought it might be relevant to what we're doing today. So what Rodney wrote is, no matter what the mind brings forth, your job is simply to observe and let it be. Don't interfere, even when the mind is lost in thought. Just let yourself be lost in thought until you return. The resolution of your intention to be awake will determine how long that will be, not your personal effort. So he's saying the time that you will be lost in thought isn't based on the doing mind, the meditator, the personal effort. And personal, maybe you put in quotes, it's that sense of me, that it's actually your intention to be awake that will determine how long you're lost in thought. So I don't know about you, but when you first read that, it seems like, okay, that would be nice, but I don't believe it. I think I have to put my effort into meditating, otherwise I'll be totally lost in thought. And we have a little evidence for that, right? You can exert a certain kind of effort and stay on the breath. The reason that, for those of you that have been practicing with me after MBSR, and then the reason I'm calling this Integrated Mindfulness is, in my own experience, and that's all I can kind of really share with you, that effortful, mindful attention, although it apparently, for some people, can really reap rewards in a like in a special retreat setting, in my experience, is not translatable to everyday life and isn't that beneficial. And Rodney Smith is a teacher who actually teaches more from this perspective of recognizing the awareness that's already there and setting your intention to connect with that. So this is one of the main reason, really, at the beginning of the meditation, we talked about setting your intention. I think, although I'm not an expert here, but I think if we spoke to some cognitive scientists, they would talk to us about the patterns of thinking that are always happening in our brain, that much of it is not in our conscious awareness. And those, at least some theories of this, are that those processes, they're, planning, they're looking out for us. They're working on our behalf and are looking for threats, rewards, and novelty. And when they come up with something, we'll flag that for our attention. So it's really our unconscious processes that control when our attention will eventually wander. If you're a monk and you've been in a cave for 30 years, it still works this way. At some time, your attention is going to follow what unconscious processes have decided is more important. However, if you tune in and listen to, get really a sense of what is my mind wanting to do at the outset of the meditation, and listen to that, and have a sort of a heartfelt, that's okay. I don't want to think about what I'm going to make for dinner right now. It's okay to put that aside and really kind of mean it emotionally. What you're doing is giving those processes, the instruction, that stuff is not really important right now. And what I'm actually doing, my meditation practice, is more important. So you can, of course, experiment with it. And, once again, I would kind of emphasize, at least in my own experience, what really works is noticing how strong the conditioned mind of wanting to do things and fix things is. And throughout the meditation, it pops up and it thinks it needs to control the meditation over and over again. And it can be really useful to notice, there it is, and recognize it's not me, because I'm aware of it. And it's trying to be helpful, but it's not really helpful right now. Okay? So that can even be, when it comes into conscious awareness, the more that you're tuned into what it feels like, this whole kind of active doing, fixing mind, the more you kind of wake up when it jumps in the driver's seat, and you can kind of release into this spacious awareness. And from that vantage point, you still can hold and be aware of the conditioned mind. We're not trying to just like space out, because you need that kind of thinking. I'll give you an example. For me to notice during the meditation how much time we had left, and whether I'm going to read this quote or I'm not going to, I'm using the conditioned mind to do that. And also because it's a meditation period, I'm aware that I'm doing that. And it really is that broader, spacious awareness that is able to use the mind in the most appropriate way, rather than I got taken off by one thought after another. Well, maybe I won't read that quote, or we started a minute late, so should I add another minute? All that kind of stuff. You could just kind of feel it wants to come up. And instead just kind of open to, actually, I don't need to go there right now. Thank you, mind, for whatever you just kind of helped me do, and just release a little bit or let go. So if you have any thoughts, questions, or just comments about this, you can leave a comment on this video. All the comments go to me. I'm not going to actually release the comments publicly, so you don't have to worry about what you put there, whether other people will read it, they won't. And you also can get to me through my website, and of course, for those of you who have my email, you can email me. So it'd be great to hear what your thoughts are about this, or your experience with this practice, and whether the guidance was helpful or unbelievably confusing and unhelpful. Which, who knows, could be a good thing too. Okay. All right, so enjoy the rest of your day, and thank you again for practicing together.